Hello again, and today we are going to dive right into a commentary that is exploding, and I really don't like doing these kinds of things. I don't like talking about current events, but these current events are so juicy, so zesty, so spicy that we got to just roll right through it and tie it into a larger concept, especially for someone like me who does kind of more introspective, more topical in the sense that I talk about big ideas rather than current events. And today we're going to be talking about the next phase of the optics wars. And some of you might be asking out there, what are the optics wars, Mr. Producer? Well, I'll tell you right now, the optics wars were a certain event that happened exclusively on the internet post a certain Wignat rally in a Savannah-sized city in Virginia, if you get my drift. And this was basically an argument between paleoconservatives and Wignats on how to present more dissident ideas and how to engage with the public. And the Wignats obviously were very blunt people, and they're also retarded, and their ideas are kind of fucked up. But the paleocons did not want to be associated with these Wignats. They wanted to, keep talking about more, edgy subjects like white identity and shit without having to deal with, the Wignats and the Yahtzees with an N, as I've heard so brilliantly said recently. And so it's very clear by the engagement on Nicholas J. Fuentes' channel, by the amount of paleoconservatives that are rising up out of the woodwork, that the paleocons, the harder right, truly won the debate and the discussion on the optics wars. But recently, we have seen a very well-known grifter, potential NeoCon, leader of Turning Point, Steal Your Money, also known as TPUSA, Charlie Kirk, going around to college campuses. And I think the straw has finally broken the camel's back with people's disapproval of Turning Point USA and their tactics and their fucking diversity leadership summits and their, defense for our greatest ally, which is not Saudi Arabia. And so you see all these young Zoomers, these groypers even, going up to ask questions at Charlie Kirk's events, and they are asking him about his stances on immigration, on our greatest ally, on diversity, on the First Step Act, which I think is really mind-blowing, because at first I thought it was a good idea, and I read into it, and it's not really prison reform, it's really just, giving out some gibs, which is something that we as people from the center to the right should really not be advocating for. And even people on the left should really not be advocating for the gibs. The gibs is some fucking, ridiculous bullshit. And yeah, I talk highly of Andrew Yang, but I don't really talk highly of his solutions. I only talk highly of his ability to identify the problem with automation. But the solution is not gibs in the sense of $1,000 a month for the government. That being said, with that little diatribe, we need to look into the next phase of the optics wars. And so many of these brave young soldiers really got it right. I mean, the first two guys, who I believe were at the University of Iowa, were in suits. They're looking presentable. They're looking sharp. If the one guy had a beard, he's looking clean. The other guy had longer hair, still looking clean. And take it from someone with experience who went to a political event, kind of in a nice jacket, a t-shirt, and gray jeans, light gray jeans. You still kind of want to be at least mildly presentable if you're going to be your own person and be an individual. And you do need to look clean. You do need to at least shave or, clean up your beard. You need to really kind of play on these people's level, because these people are kind of clean cut, kind of corporate. And it's not really about you at that point. It's about making them take you seriously, because your ideas if you fall into the spectrum of not being a corporatist, not being a cuck, not being a neoconservative, not being a neoliberal, not being a progressive, not being a communist, not being a DSA member, you gotta fucking, like, present yourself as a threat. And for a lot of these kind of establishment types, if you are dissident but you dress like them, it scares the shit out of them, because they see you as someone who's trying to present as equal, but to them your beliefs and your ideology is not equal. It in fact scares them. So by being presentable, looking sharp, looking fly, looking fresh, you really hit this point across. Now the second point, which I think most of the guys that went up there did, I think one guy was a little softer and he needed a little time to boil it up. What you people asking questions at these sort of events really need to be doing is to know that you're going to this event first off. And once you have confirmed it in your mind, you're going to think, write out, and research your questions for these people so that they are forced into not giving a boilerplate talking point as an answer. And this is so important when it comes to Charlie Kirk, because he's been giving the same answer for the past couple of days on Israel. Oh, Israel's the best democracy. Israel's the only people who accept gays into their society. You know, if this was the Palestinians, the gays would be thrown off rooftops, and that's disgusting. It's like, bro, I heard this for 3 days straight now. Like, you're not playing to this one person. You're now playing to a global audience, a worldwide audience. You should kind of know that if you say one talking point multiple times, you're going to have multiple clips of you saying the same talking point. And it just makes you look uneducated. It makes you look nervous. Steve Franson, a guy who, again, confuses the shit out of me as to his stances, was absolutely 100,000% correct when he started calling Charlie Kirk, like, acting like a bitch, like, acting really bitchy, like a woman. In the fact that he would just start snarking it up like he's on fucking Twitter.com. And, you know, this is the sign that you know you're getting to these people, because they have to use low-handed tactics as well as just being kind of detestable people. And before you leave said event, I want each and every one of you who listens to this commentary to do one thing, is to engage with like-minded people who go to the event and, you know, just network, talk. This is what these things are really built for, you know, to bring people together who share similar beliefs, and if not share similar beliefs, it's to have discussion, you know, go out, get a drink, get some grub, you know, like, just talk your ideas to other people who are willing to listen, because you never know who you're going to convince or change their mind on. And with all this being said, we are now entering 2020 in about 2 months and a half. November is coming up very soon. And, you know, I'm prepping my Star Wars content. I'm prepping my year-end content. And culturally, I think I have a big undertaking in my hands when it comes to talking about the cultural landscape. And this is because, you know, so much of my beliefs have been literally shaken at the foundations due to the massive failings of the left. And yet the right still is not getting it. It's still playing ball with these people who kind of have, let's just say, very suspect fucking financiers, like the Wilkes brothers, the Koch brothers, fucking the Mercers. And it's because this political landscape was built by finance. It was built by giving money to people who you think could deliver your message. And we need to tell these people that their message is fucking gay. It's absolute shit. It's nothing that people want. And I sound like a leftist, I know, right now when I say shit like this. I sound very progressive. But it's because they're right when they say that kind of crap. We do not need moneyed interests in politics. We need less moneyed interests in politics. We need less people trying to grift. The grift that is going on the right is somehow more disgusting than your average progressive grifter. You know, your average like Ania Sarkeesian or Cenk Uyghur. I mean, they're just so fucking... It's just evil. Like, yeah, when the left grifts, it's awful. Like, don't get me wrong. But, like, you know, it's basically because they're taking our narratives and they're running with it and they're making way too much money off of it and nothing's getting done. And it's that fact that because you're giving grifters money when we have deathly serious issues, that is what drives this problem. And so if you want to be a content creator that shows your face, if you want to be somebody who is good at the networking in politics, and if you're somebody that wants to get involved, you need to just look at your presentation style. You need to be aware of the facts, know the facts cold, look sharp, engage with your fellow peers, and all of this would really help the movement as it stands right now. And to all of you evildoers, all of you interlopers, tread lightly, because there's no way to stop us this time.